Hey, and welcome. I want to show you a little bit more about how to work with text in Vectr. Your project for today is going to be to make a graphic frame that can be used in social media. To set it up, I want you to make sure the space that you create is a perfect square. And the first thing that I would do would be to draw a big circle, because even though Facebook profile pictures can be shown square, they also are shown in a circle, and you want to make sure that the graphic that you make will fit within that circular shape when it's used as a circle. Okay, so it's kind of like you're making one graphic that can be used two different ways. And we're going to use this circle here in the middle as just like a little template so we can see where it's going to go. Eventually, we're going to delete that circle and we'll only see your graphic. So let's get started. I am making a graphic for the class of 2020 at Steinert. Dun, dun, dun! Steinert? What? Because my son goes to Steinert. You're going to do a graphic for our students at Robbinsville. Okay, so here's my type tool. I typed out 2020. I'm going to click on that and I'm going to bring up my type options. Click over here on the left-hand side on the layer that has your type on it, and then you'll see the options pop right up. All right, I know I want this type to be a little bit bigger. And you know how to do this right now. Pick yourself a nice font that looks cool. Make it a color that you like. Yeah, I definitely want it to be white and nice and big. Here's the new part. All right, so I've got my type in there and I want to have some outlines around it. And when Vectr puts the outline, the border around there, you can choose where that border should fall within the space of those letters. So let me pick my green that I want for that. And you can already see the letters starting to get that border. See how though when I increase the thickness, it's actually eating into the letter itself? That's because the border is going on the center line. That means its thickness is going both inside the letter and outside the letter. And so it's eating up the letter. Just change that. You see how you can come right in here? I want that to go on the outside. And look, see what a difference that makes? One more cool trick is that you can also create an additional border. You can have as many borders as you want. So here's how you do it. I'm still right here in the border section. I'm going to click plus, and I want this to be another color. Maybe I'll make this white. And I'm going to bump up that thickness too. See how that's going outside around the green? Whichever border is on top is what's like they're layers, they're stacked. Okay, so if I were to put the white one up on top, you see how it's going to cover up the green completely? I don't want to do that, but I just want you to know that if you're not getting the effect you want, it might be that you're putting your borders in the wrong order, and you can easily just click, drag, and rearrange them. All right, I'm going to add a little drop shadow because why not? I'm going to have to offset it a little bit because now we've got quite a bit of border in there. So the shadow is going to have to shift. And I'm going to bump that blur up. There we go. Maybe I'll make that blur kind of a green color. There we go. As I said in the previous video, Vectr will not do type on a path, so you can't curve it, but you can rotate it. Okay, so if you come up here, see how when I hover by the control point, I get that little circular thing? You can rotate it. All right, so I'm going to have my little 2020 here. And I also want to have some kind of a graphic that goes with just the numbers. Now, you're probably used to in Pixlr, just copying images and pasting them in to your workspace. And you can do that in Pixlr, you can do that in GIMP, you can do that in Photoshop. You can't do it in Vectr, though you can in Illustrator. In order to get another image here, you're going to have to save that image that you like. For instance, I picked this image of the Steinert Spartan, and I'm going to right click and I'm going to save it. And then when I go back to Vectr, I'm just going to click Upload Image. And here it is. Okay, now that is a rastered image. It's a JPEG. That means that it's made up of pixels. And if we were to super zoom in here, you could see how the quality tends to deteriorate. We don't want that. We want something that's going to look good no matter what. Like the text. The text is vector. And when you zoom in on vector stuff, you can see it's still as crisp and clear as when you were zoomed out. And that's what we want. Okay, so let's zoom back out. So I'm going to trace this image. I don't want to leave it like this. I want to actually draw it. Okay. And one trick to tracing to make it come out good is to make the thing you're going to trace as big as possible. Okay, see how big that is? That's way bigger than I want it. I actually want it to be just a little thing that's kind of going to go right there. But to draw it very big means that it will come out better when we reduce it. Okay, so here it is. I'm going to do one more additional step so that when I am tracing, I am not moving my image around. So I'm going to come over here to my layers and I'm going to lock that image layer. And then I'm just going to start drawing. You can use your pencil tool. You can use your pen tool. I prefer the pen. I'm going to just use the pen tool. And I'm going to click, click. And it's not going to match perfectly. And that is absolutely fine because we're going to later come back in and fix all of those parts. I'm going to hold down Control so I can change the direction of my stroke and keep right on drawing. Okay, so here's what we've got so far. Definitely want to clean that up because it is not looking so good right now. There we go. I'm just moving my points around a little bit. It's a little clunky. Remember to hold down Control when you want to move those points in a direction that is different. Okay, so there goes that part. And this, my drawing has several separate pieces. I'm going to want all those separate pieces to be drawn separately. You notice what I'm drawing also? I'm not dragging my handlebars way out. I'm kind of keeping them pretty close together. That's going to help me control the space that they look like so that the curve is not all wild. Okay, so there it is, kind of roughly drawn in. And I'm just moving my points around, making sure that everything kind of is where I want it to be. Nice. Now I just have those little pieces left. And they're going to be drawn the same way. It doesn't have to be perfect. Remember, you are going to shrink this, and there's a little bit of magic that happens when you shrink something like this. All the imperfections that you see right now, they're going to kind of go away. Okay, good enough. And we're going to zoom back out. Okay, look at all of the paths that I have in my layers palette. Now I'm going to hide that image. And let's look at all those paths. We want to make them background is white. See how that's popping out? Nice. And maybe give it that same sort of border. And I made that green with, whoop. All right. I like it. And we can shrink it. Remember to hold down shift so that you get the same size. Border, or put it on the outside. Oh yeah, that looks pretty good. I super zoom in on there. Oh, I can see that my spaces have kind of been, but like I said, when you are zoomed out, you're not going to see these little mistakes that are here. And we are not in Illustrator. Illustrator, it would be very easy to take care of that problem, but we're not in Illustrator. All right, so before I export, like I said, I want to get rid of that circle. I'm just going to hide it. And I'm going to leave this exactly where you see it. I don't want it to go to a different spot because when this is used as a profile graphic, it's going to fall there even though the picture is much larger. All right, so go to export, and we want this to be a PNG graphic. And here's where we could set that height. I said it was 2000 by 2000. And then hit download. Okay, here's our graphic. It's down here at the bottom. The next step is to go to Facebook and actually upload it. But it's going to be different than uploading other social media stuff. You have to go to a special spot. Now, you want to go to a URL called facebook.com/frames, and you'll see that linked in the directions for this assignment. And if you have a Facebook account, all you have to do is click to open the Frame Studio. See that? And you can drag and drop that PNG that you just made. And it's kind of smaller, so I'm going to stretch it so that I know that it falls in the right spot. See here, it's giving you a little preview of what it would look like in the circle, and it's giving you a preview of where it would be on a phone. So if this were the profile picture, it would be part of it. Nice. I like that. And I'm going to hit next. And here's where you could give it a name. This part is super important. I know students like to rush through the naming part of things and just call it untitled, but if you name it untitled, nobody will be able to find it. So you need to do two very important things. Number one, give it a name. This is Steinert 2020. I'm saying that it is available anywhere, because this is something that anybody on social media could actually use. You want to make something that you would want to share and feel proud that other people are using. Okay. Schedule, make active right away. keywords, and here's the part where you can help people find. Oh, that says. There we go. Help people find your graphic. Okay, so I'm going to say Steiner, right? And you have to hit enter and see how it lights up blue. You know that it's accepting it as a keyword or a meta tag. If you are a web person, you know that term. So that people can actually find this and use this graphic in their posts. I like to put at least 3. So you can see all of the keywords that I have there. So if anybody searches up any of those words, this piece of art is going to be something that they will see and they can actually use in their posts. So I'll hit next and publish. All right, cool. This means that your frame has been published and you can jump on there and you can use it yourself or you can have other people use it. I just want to show you real quick one that I made previously. Here's my Facebook page, and you can see there it says Robbinsville Cares. That's a graphic that I made, and now I'm sharing it with everybody so other people can use that graphic as well. And if you have friends who are at Steiner, you'll see that there are some Steiner graphics that are out there. Anything that says Steiner 2020 is something that I made. So there's a bunch of them. Okay, I hope that you have fun with this. It's our kind of our first foray into graphics that you can use and share with other people. So